Ghislaine Maxwell, new charges. We have another victim, alleged victim number 4, is just coming out of the woodworks. We have a superseding indictment that was filed in the Southern District of New York. Ghislaine Maxwell, as we know her to be Jeffrey Epstein's number 2, she's facing 2 additional counts for 1 additional victim. 2 charges include sex trafficking conspiracy and sex trafficking of a minor, which means we have a new indictment to go through. A superseding indictment basically replaces the old indictment. So she's already been indicted, and we've already gone through that. Superseding indictment is it's like turning in your second draft. Okay, you know, remember in school, you write a book report, you take that to your teacher. It's your first draft. All right, this is kind of terrible. Take it back, son, and go back out there and write a second draft. Write it better this time. You come back in. All right, it's a little bit better. Add a paragraph, tighten up your closing argument, your introduction, your conclusion. You have your 3 bullet points. We all remember how to write essays. You bring that back into the teacher. They say, much better. Okay, this is complete. This is what I was looking for. C- goes up to an A-. Nice job, little Robbie. Okay, so same thing here. They already had an indictment. They already had a number of charges. They're turning in a second draft. It's a superseding indictment. It's going to throw out the old indictment. And this is going to detail a lot of the same stuff that we've already covered, stuff we already know, but it's just going to add in a couple paragraphs, just like you did in your grade school essay. And we're going to learn we've got new charges and a new victim. Previously we had 3 victims. Here we have 4. So this article came over from lawandcrime.com, written by Adam Classfield, posted today, said prosecutors have added 2 new charges against Ghislaine Maxwell in her case of grooming and abusing young women and girls for Jeffrey Epstein's empire of abuse. New counts and charges includes, as I said, sex trafficking conspiracy, sex trafficking of a minor from at least in or about 2001 up to including about 2004 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. They're saying that her and Epstein did do all of these things, to wit, sex trafficking of minors, says the superseding indictment. We'll do a little bit of background, and then we're going to go through the indictment itself. So we've got, shortly after the grand jury returned the verdict on new charges, prosecutors explained the changes between the indictments in a memo filed later in the day. The new indictment prolongs the length of the alleged conspiracy, so it extends the dates, and then it adds minor victim number 4. Count 1 of the S1 indictment alleged this conspiracy lasted through in or about 1997. Count 1 of S2, so the superseding indictment, says that it continued through in or about 2004. So we can see sort of the bookend was from 1994 to 1997. Now they're extending that way out to 2004, and it specifically identifies a 4th victim, minor victim number 4, who was a victim of the conspiracy between 2001 and 2004, said Maureen Comey in her 4-page letter. Both additional counts include allegations involving minor victim number 4. The trial has been scheduled for July. Prosecutors say that they will help ensure that the defense has adequate time to prepare for in light of the new charges. They also said, additionally, in order to ensure that the defense has adequate time to prepare for trial, the government intends to begin its production to the defense of non-testifying witness statements by April 12th, 2021, approximately three months in advance of the trial. So they're going to have plenty of time to work through it. They're still going to object to the end of the world. This production will include the statements of more than 250 witnesses related to the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and his associates in the government's possession, whom the government does not currently expect to testify to call at trial. The government is continuing to review its files for witness statements and will produce any additional non-testifying witness statements that come to light on a rolling basis as promptly as possible in advance of trial. Note, this story initially stated the charges had been doubled, but the initial indictment against Maxwell had 6 counts, not 4. All right, so it got bumped up to, it looks like, 8 counts. All right, so new charges. Trial is looking like they're still scheduled for July. 250 witnesses. Many of these people are not even going to be called at trial, but they still have to disclose them. They still have to tell the government or tell the defense who these people are, what they've investigated, and make sure that the defense has them available in their log so that they can go and do their own interviews, so that they can do their own investigation. What do these people say? What did they have to say? Because there might be something in there that is exculpatory, that might tend to show Ghislaine Maxwell is actually not as guilty as everybody says she is. And so they have to be on notice that the government talked to these people. They're in the scope of the case. Disclose that to the defense, and then the defense, I guarantee you, they're going to go talk to all 250 of those people. They are doing everything humanly possible in this case, even stuff that is not humanly possible they're doing. They are sinking so much time and money into this defense. It is impressive, very impressive. And so now they just got a whole new can of worms that they can open up and just dump out right in front of the court and say, look at this. This is 250 witnesses. I got to go and interview all these people. I have to go investigate all this. We need more time, number one. And since we need more time, guess what else we need? Ghislaine Maxwell released. You know what this means, folks? There's going to be a fourth request for bail. I bet there is. I'm guessing right now that there is a fourth request for bail. She just got denied her third request. And so now this is a material change in circumstances. There's a new indictment. There are new charges. There's a new victim. And there's 250 additional witnesses that they have to call. They're going to submit a new request for bail. I can guess that that's going to come in conjunction with another continuance. Maybe they're not going to ask for a continuance. We'll see. Anyways, they're going to ask for bail again. I would expect that to come in about two months, maybe 30 days, maybe 60 days. Let's go into the superseding indictment. This is what it looks like. You can see here, this was filed today, March 29th, page 1 of 24. We're not going to go through the whole document. As I said, it's a superseding indictment, which means this is going to supersede the original indictment. It's going to get rid of that old one and bring in this new one, which is going to cover all of the old stuff and the new stuff. So here we see count 1, conspiracy to entice minors to travel in illegal sex acts. Looks like the victims were as young as 14. Many of them were under the age of 18. Got all that. We got Ghislaine Maxwell caused minor victims to travel. She wanted to conceal her crimes. She did so while providing oath under oath in 2016. So we've got this, efforts to conceal statutory allegations. You can see here from at least 1994 up to 2004. So this is when the bookend got expanded. So it used to be like this, and now they just expanded it. They just kind of put that way out here to 2014. Epstein, they all conspired. It was part of the object to coerce them into sexual activity. Overt acts between 1994 and 1997. We got victim number 1. Between 1996 and onward, we got minor victim number 1 again here. 1996, minor victim number 2. 1994, we got minor victim number 3. Then down here, we see this paragraph is the new victim. Between in or about 2001 and in or about 2002, minor victim 4 was under the age of 18. Maxwell invited minor victim 4 to travel from Florida to a place outside of Florida with Epstein. So there you go. Count number 2. Let's see. We've got a minor to engage in illegal sex acts. So that is all, looks like mostly the same stuff. 1997, coercion. Transport minors with intent to engage in sexual activity, again from 1994 to 2004. Moving to conspiring against the victims. Count 4, once again, is criminal sexual activity with transportation of minors. So a lot of this, again, we're seeing minor victim number 1 down here. Let's look over here. We've got sex trafficking with minors. We also have commercial sex acts. Not seeing any specificities about the victims. So sex trafficking of a minor, that's also count 6. And we got minor victim number 4 here. So let's read this paragraph. Paragraph 27. From at least in or about 2001 up into about 2004, Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Ghislaine Maxwell was enticing, harboring, transporting, providing, and on and on and on. Somebody who has not attained the years of 18 years of age, engaged in commercial sex act, and did aid and abet the same. She was less than 18, one commercial sex act with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so minor victim number 4 was engaged with Jeffrey Epstein. And there's some questions about that because Ghislaine also allegedly participated in this, as did a number of other men. So they're specifically referencing that this one went back to Epstein, not the others. Count 7, perjury. These shouldn't change. These should all be the same because the new charges don't address perjury. Another one, count 8, perjury. So this was from her testimony. We've already gone through a lot of this where she's basically saying, she basically lied under oath during her depositions in other cases. So here, forfeiture allegations. They want her to forfeit any material. You can sign over here that this was signed off on by Aubrey Strauss, United States Attorney, foreperson of the grand jury. So if any of it's forfeitable, they're going to forfeit it. All right. So short update, new charges. We know that there's going to be 250 additional witnesses who are going to be disclosed to the defense. So this case is just getting more and more complicated and will be interesting. All right. Questions over from watchingthewatchers.locals.com. Go check us out over there. Liberty or Death says, with a superseding indictment, do they have to sit another grand jury, or is it just an amended complaint type thing? If it's an amended complaint, what is the time period for a government? So it should be an entirely new jury panel, because they're sort of interfacing the charges together, right? They sort of, there's a conspiracy here. So they're sort of stacking them all together, and they have to make sure that they all interplay. If it's an amended complaint, what is the time period for the government to amend as of right? I'm not sure that there's a limitation on that time period. This is in federal court. So I'm sure there's, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that question is. Honestly, I don't know if there is a limitation on that. You can see certain situations where the government can amend complaints up until the day of trial in some situations. It just kind of depends on what the amendment is about. We just saw that they sort of added, or no, that didn't happen in the Chauvin case. There are situations where the government will amend, if they need to correct some things, like if they cite, let's say civil procedure, right? 12b6. You probably remember that from civil procedure. So you go through 12b6. Well, it's the wrong subsection. It shouldn't be 12b6. It should be 12b7. All right. So they go in and they amend that. And I'm not sure that there is a time limit on when the government has the last opportunity to do that. I don't know the answer to that question. Is a good one. We got iOnion says, Robert, to speak to your comments about lawyers wearing masks, a lady lost her personal injury case because her lawyer would not wear a mask. Thoughts? Well, my initial thoughts on that are, is that really why she lost the case? Was it because she wasn't wearing a mask, or was that lawyer just not any good? I don't know. But if they lost the case because it wasn't wearing a mask, that's not the right verdict for that, right? And that's a problem. If a juror comes out after the Chauvin trial and says, no, I voted to acquit Derek Chauvin because of something that's totally irrelevant, that's not following the law, right? So the judge would want to correct that.